There was this instrumental that was buzzing around. It didn't do nothing. It went on a compilation album called Obsession Devotion, released by a guy called Damon Rochford, who went under the name as Nomad. And he was looking for a rap artist at the time, and he knew Dave Pearce and heard the rap part I'd done on Love Don't Live Anymore. So basically he got in contact with my manager, and we just hooked up in the studio, and I had the rap written for a hip-hop track. And my manager at the time said, oh, it'd be good to do it. I think this could be big. And so I ad-libbed the beginning part to fit in with Devotion.
I want to give you a place to release your feelings. A star deep rhythm with a standing healing. A word and a message with a lot of emotion, with total dedication and a lot of...
That was it, yeah. I was in the studio for about 10 minutes, put the vocal down on the instrumental track, and then they brought in a vocalist called Sharon D. Clark, who was an actress at the time, but is also a well-known vocalist. And yeah, the result was we went on a tour to promote the record, and within 4 weeks of that tour it was predicted that it would go number 14 in the charts. The highlight of it was that yes, it went all the way to number 1 in 26 countries, went to number 2 in the UK. The downside of it is that it took me 15 years to get hold of the royalties that was owed to me because of the information that wasn't available. I wasn't given. So yeah, that's how basically Devotion came about, and that's how it began, and that's how, yeah, the result was it went in the charts, but brilliant and everything like that. But the money side of it, that was owed to me. It took a big court case.
The Slayer, he came and courted. Maggie came, but now she's slaughtered. I wanna give you devotion.
When I was 12 years old, I was heavily into my sister's influence on music and my foster parents, who influenced me in reggae. And so I was brought up on like reggae and also British ska, like groups like the Specials, you know, Too Much Too Young, A Message to You Really, that sort of thing. And the whole that 70s era where you had at the time, you had riots going off, and there was the Margaret Thatcher years, as you call it, but a lot of good things were coming out of the poverty and the urban areas. There was so much going on. You had a punk era, you had the ska movement, you had the Rude Boys, then you had the reggae rastas and the sound systems. And there wasn't too many people DJing back then. It was a selected few sound systems that everybody would follow in different parts of the country. For Bristol here, it was the Wild Bunch, who were the main dominators, if you like, of the sound system phase, who would play stuff that they grew up with, from funk, punk, rock, you know, and mixing it together to make this sound that people from all age groups would just go to. And that influenced me into the hip-hop scene from an early age. So getting into that hip-hop thing, I started writing lyrics. And I knew then that that's what I wanted to do. Didn't want to do nothing else, just wanted to do music. And I was always held back because of people. At the time I was being fostered out in care, and social work said, oh no, we want you to go to college and train for a proper job. You'll never make it in the music business, only 1 out of a million make it. I was determined. I was one of those million that really wanted it. Well, our gigs was a case of a couple of speakers that we built ourselves out of wardrobes, and we learnt that through the sound system boys back then. A couple of dodgy record decks, which we had an old saxophone box, and we would carry our record boxes in old milk crates on buses to get to the gigs or wherever we were playing, house parties or warehouse parties back then. And it was word of mouth, as well as you can make photocopy or flyers and put them in the well-known cafes where most people would go who are into that music, or in the sports shops or stuff. And it was a gathering of every type of person, rockers, dreads, your normal office people who just dress up for the night, but you'd have a mixture of every person there. You don't get that kind of feeling today. It's more organised. But there again, that's just the way that it's evolved. Back then you didn't have the money, so you'd have to have these warehouse parties. Today, like I say, you've got the whole media of the internet. You can get all this information in one go. It's just so accessible now. It wasn't accessible in my day, so it was a lot harder to try and break through. I mean, Bristol's such a small community, as to say, compared to London. London always looked to America. Bristol always looked from within. It was a lot smaller, so the people were more laid back, had more time to work on originality. So they would take elements of hip hop or elements of reggae, but they would make it their own. So thus came this so-called Bristol sound. And originality is something that's always come out of Bristol. That I find, you know, we've got people like Turkey, Massive Attack, all these people, and Ronnie Size, and all these, they all started off as DJs. None of them had like productions or studios or access to internets or nothing. It was just coming from a background of poverty or from urban areas, same as me, love music, and then eventually swapping their decks and their turntables for their first piece of studio equipment and then making it. Well, apart from the weight and the getting older, technology's changed. The way that people think has changed. That's not to say that I think it's any better or any worse. I think the problems that we had with youth back in my day were just as bad as what they are today, but a lot of it was kept out of the media. A lot of the crime that happens with youngsters today is brought forefront to the media. Youth centres is an old hat. It was brilliant for bringing youngsters in back in the day, but today you have to give them something that is accessible to them, something that they share an interest in. You give them something with the music technology, you give them the information, you give them the right information, and they have an interest in it. What I like about it is that it's not just offering what a lot of workshops offer. They only last for about 6 weeks. It's not really grasping or giving the right information, or you haven't got enough time to do it. The thing about The-musicworks is it involves everybody. It's about informing young people, using people like myself who's had a little taster of the professional side of the music business. Maybe somebody's had a professional side in sport or media, and being able to give them that information before they actually go into the world of, they may love music, they may love to make music, but now they can have some actual people who've been there to give them the information to steer them in the right path. Here's the knowledge, here's the way, the means, you do it, but now you've got it up there to carry it through, and hopefully you won't get into the same kind of troubles we did when we were starting out. The medium that The-musicworks will give them, whether it be through music or whatever, it's the information. It's not about separation, segregation. It's about a unity of everybody. If they've got total dedication, a lot of devotion.
Why don't you come for me? Because I'm an entertainer,